Hello, my name is Trevor, and this is Scorched Earth Musings. I've been kicking around doing this video right here for a few hours now. It's quite a different one from what I was doing this morning, but it's been something on my mind, and I just feel something's telling me to talk about it and discuss it and broach this topic and what led up to it. And it might be sensitive to some people and hard for some people to hear, but I'm also hoping that it can help some people. I'm going to touch on my suicide attempt that happened last July, and I knew this was going to be heavy. But I don't even know. This is why I did it, what led up to it, and I feel like I know I'm not alone, and other people can probably relate to the feeling of what I'm going to share about my own personal feelings and what happened, transpired. So I've been debating on what I'm going to call this video too. I don't know, finding the inner child seems to be appropriate, but I'm not sure. I might change it. Anyway, to get back to it, I think it all started with, finding the inner child is good. So, growing up too fast, I think a lot of people can relate with that, having done that, and I know I felt that way. It was a combination of just the tumultuous environment I grew up in, and that just created defense mechanisms, me to be closed off and hide my feelings, bottle my feelings. Plus it was learned behavior from my mom. Was a professional bottler, I know that, and I learned from her quite a bit. And I guess when my parents separated, that's when it was really, when I really took on the role of trying to keep up with the household, make sure everything was good. I know I didn't need to, but I did anyway. With my dad living in the truck and camper at the time, and not knowing, going from a happy family to it just being all of a sudden torn apart. It was just shocking, and I think I avoided the feelings for that by bottling it up and taking control and growing up fast and trying to support the household, even though I couldn't. I mean, I was too young to even work or anything. But I think I carried that with me from then on, after my parents got back together, and just going into adulthood, just working hard, trying to support myself, pay the bills. It was just a learned thing of, and that's what you do. That's just, you take care of the household. That was learned behavior from, that's just what I grew up with. What I saw is you just do that. So I grew up fast, and yeah, then it got to fast forwarding. This is going to be all over the place, but my view of time being in a circle, so whatever. It's not linear, so this isn't going to be linear. So we're going to fast forward now to my mom getting sick. And that was hard on all of us. We all handled it differently as a family, and yeah. But I know what I did is I avoided, I ignored, acted like it wasn't happening, and I worked my ass off, and I was helping pay the bills, pay the mortgage, and utilities and everything like that, and because my mom couldn't work, and it was just my father and me that were working. And so there was growing up too fast as well, and just shouldering that burden. And I was trying to keep the household together as much as possible, which was not my responsibility, but I took it on anyway. And I don't know, just never feeling appreciated for it. Truly. That's a major underlying theme, is not feeling appreciated, which I think a lot of people can relate with, but that's just us assuming. So, underappreciated for that, and then after my mom passed, a few months later, being kicked out of the house by my father after doing that really hurt, and I didn't speak with him for years. I had a lot of just pent up things I didn't talk about, because that's what we did. I learned to bottle things up, not share. And feeling alone, as if I was the only one that was going through this, that I was, no one else would understand. And it was just something, we don't talk about our emotions growing up. That's what it was. It was just, we don't talk about what we're feeling. We lock that shit away. And how unhealthy that is. And I know that now. I've learned that now. But my stubborn ass tried to keep everything together. Into my adulthood, into my life with my wife, my ex-wife, sorry, and my son. But I had this burden of trying to keep things together all the time. And then the feeling of not being understood or not being able to communicate, because my problems weren't a big deal. I can help other people, but God forbid I help myself or ask other people for help. So yeah, I had other moments of being down and thinking about suicide and everything like that, and yeah, I don't know what caused me to actually go through with it. I honestly don't know. This is between two things. I either smoked pot that happened to be laced with bath salts, or I had a psychotic break, or both. I'll never know, and I've resolved myself to that. So that happened. I cut my wrist very thoroughly, cut my tendons, hit 3 arteries, hit 3 sets of nerves, and in all respective purposes, I shouldn't be here right now. But I am, and here I am laughing and smiling, yes, because I'm thinking of the irony of it all, is I'm a stubborn ass. And I believe my higher self, higher power, was looking out for me that day. And I think a combination of that and being a stubborn ass that I am kept me alive and took me on the path that I am on now. Brought me to the hospital for 2 months, then to a mental health center for 6 months, and on that long road, excuse me, that long road to recovery and a different outlook on things and holding things with a new perspective, and a radical acceptance of things that happened and transpired. So I know I didn't want to be around. I know I didn't want to be here anymore. I felt alone. I think, I don't know. I'm not going to assume anything, but at least for me, when it came to deciding I wanted to die and everything, I wasn't thinking about anybody else. I thought, in my opinion, I thought my ex and my son would be better off without me. I thought everyone would. I felt like I was a burden to everybody. Only to learn that wasn't the truth. And I want all you out there to know that's not the truth. If you're having similar thoughts, you're not a burden to people. No matter what people say or anything like that, it's not the truth. So, my stubborn ass stayed alive. And I went on a journey of learning about past traumas and dealing with past traumas and addressing them and being open and honest and straightforward about events in my life. And I was a little shit from bottling up the emotions. My grandma likes to say that, little shit. I was a little shit. And so I like to use that. It's kind of funny. And it may not come off that way now, if you were to meet me and talk to me and everything, but I turned into a verbally and emotionally abusive person. And realizing that was a big shock. And because I never wanted to be that way towards my family. And I don't remember that I was that way most of the time. I blacked out for those instances. So that came as a shock to me to learn that I was behaving that way towards people that I loved. And I felt like I didn't deserve to be alive, and everyone else would be better off without me for me behaving that way and treating people badly. Because it wasn't just my ex and my son, it was coworkers, it was friends, it was everyone. And I really didn't know or realize how much of a problem it was. Now, these were all learned behaviors, coping mechanisms, everything like that from childhood, stemming from other traumas, etc. It's no excuse, but it is also a reason I found a way to give grace to myself. It's the best I knew how to to act and behave when certain circumstances were presented to me and how to cope with them. I'm not saying they were healthy, because they weren't at all. They were unhealthy, but it's what I knew. And yeah, that was just where I was at that point in time. But that doesn't mean that it had to be me forever. And I was stuck on that with the suicide attempt, that it was me forever, that's who I was as a person. That was going to go down, and how unacceptable that was, and not giving myself grace. It was working through my traumas at the mental health center that I did find that I am not that person. Because as long as we are willing to face who we are and understand that it's the best we knew how, and the reason we turned out that way because our parents raised us the best they knew how, because it's a trickle down effect. They learned from their parents how to raise, and they tried to do their best they can. So I did the same, and I brought it forward in my life. And it had to get this critical point, and yeah, it was the only way that my path was going to change and move forward, to go down to where I could try and help people now. And that's my goal, is to share my story, share how I've been and where I've been. And it's not a lonely path. And there are people out there that will support you and are there for you. And that was the biggest thing, is being able to be open and honest about what was going on to people that were strangers, really, but became friends at the center. And just learning to be authentic and true to myself by acknowledging that I did what I did, but that's not me. That's not the core me. That's not who I am. That's not. And just be supported through dealing with all of this. And God, it took forever, because I really hated myself because I lost use of my hands, and so I couldn't go back to doing what I was doing for work, which that was a big old mind fuck. But I'm glad that I'm doing. Oh, Jesus. I'm on the path that I'm supposed to be on now, because I'm doing life coaching, and I'm here on YouTube, and I'm trying to help whoever I can help by sharing my story here. And I don't know. You're not alone. We aren't alone. That ties to my other video about feeling alone when we're not. And I just want to convey the fact that, Be honest with yourself and be honest with everyone around you. Because being truly and completely honest, no matter how scary it is, because you don't, you get in your way about what are people going to think of me, etc., etc., etc. Fuck that nonsense. Fuck that nonsense. If people can't like you for being your true, authentic self, then you don't need those freaking people in your life. The right people will come to you. And I learned that with the center. And learned that losing all my friends that I did from my past life, I guess you could say. It's funny to say that with the other video, but yeah, whatever. Told you this video is going to be all over the place. Yeah, there's the right people for you are out there. And I just want to convey that you're not alone. We are not alone when we think we are alone. Please watch that other video, that ties in a lot. But I also believe that the right path is presented to us and we have free choice. And what we do with that choice and how we move forward is how we become our true authentic selves and present ourselves in the most authentic way to the world. And I found that by being selfish, which is something I like to promote, being selfish, because you have to fill your cup for yourself before you can help others. And for me, trying to shoulder the burdens and help others and be there for others, but not taking care of myself or asking for help when I needed help. Not being afraid to ask for help, seen as weak, and all the stereotypical things that society fucking presses on us nowadays, which God, don't get me started on that shit. We are not weak for asking for help. We are not weak for showing emotion. We are strong for admitting our faults, for admitting our weaknesses. Because in admitting our weaknesses, we're relatable to everyone else. Because we can't all be perfect. We're perfect in our imperfectness. We can't all be everything. This is where we are all connected comes into play. We need other people other people need us. We have something, that certain spark within us, that certain light within us that fills other people's lives. The whole yeah, okay. In their life, the little part that's missing, that's not missing, that's just less, dimmer. And it's so funny that I talk about light, dimness, and brightness when I was an electrician. Besides the point. Tangents. Sorry, it's gonna happen. Back to it. I learned from sharing at the center and making connections with so many people and being authentic about my experience and myself and what I've done and what I feel seemed to open up the door for everyone else to want to be more authentic as well. And it was beautiful to see so many people open up and not be ashamed to admit their faults, admit their shortcomings. That's not quite the right word. I don't know. I can't think of it, but whatever. And being able to see other people hold that person up. So lift that person up when they were feeling down. And this is where I'm talking about the connectivity of us all. And we affect everybody else. And we are the light for other people. Think of it as like lighthouses. We're all lighthouses. And something that partook in your life that you could share about, that you could be authentic about, can be that lighthouse to protect other people from the dangerous rocks that are there. And by being more connected and sharing more and being authentic with ourselves and with one another, and not trying to hide behind the masks and the bullshit, and just being true and loving and compassionate towards one another, no matter what the other person's experience, we could just, it brings so much joy, at least with me. That's what I've been able to find by helping others and sharing my experience, and why I want to share with others, with you guys here, whatever. I don't even care who this reaches. If it helps one person, it's done its job. And that's all I'm doing this for. Because I don't want anyone to have to go through what I went through. The rocky fucking road that I had to take to get here, because of me being a stubborn ass. But I'm glad I'm a stubborn ass, because it kept me alive as I see it. And how beautiful that is, that my stubborn ass stayed alive, so I could be here now and share this with you guys there. And try to spread the light and be that lighthouse to protect other people from the rocks. And I just want everyone else out there to know that you all are lighthouses. And you all are protecting somebody from rocks. Because we don't need to carry these rocks in our shoulders and the burdens and the weight. By releasing them, we're acting as lighthouses to protect from the rocks that we've dropped around us. We're shining the light around. And it's a beautiful thing. To be the lighthouse to protect from the rocks. We don't have to carry those rocks anymore. We could drop them. And then we could be that beacon of light to signal to others. Hey, watch out. You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through what I went through. It's the lessons that I learned. And I'm trying to make it a little easier on you. And that's my goal with these videos, with my new career pursuit as a life coach, with everything. And I want to be a lighthouse. And I want you all to be lighthouses too. Because that we are. Thank you. Thank you. Truly. I mean, if this helps anybody, my videos are all over the place. And they're happy and they're sad. And I like both emotions. I like all emotions. And if you resonate with this and it helps you in some way, and I can come with more randomness. They could be silly ones like I did this morning. Please like, share, subscribe. If it can help, if somebody's going through a tough time. Remember, you don't know what burdens they're bearing, and try to shine the light and be the light for others, and be kind and loving and compassionate. That's the biggest takeaway. Thank you.